Hello and welcome to the Friday edition of the Post-Gazette Penguins podcast. I'm King Jemison, joined by PG Pens insider Jason Mackey, who is traversing Eastern Canada with the Penguins. He's now in Montreal, where they will play tomorrow in the first of a two-day home-and-home series with the Canadiens. So an interesting weekend for the Penguins, who are desperately seeking a win. But before we get into it more, Jason, how have you enjoyed Eastern Canada besides the hockey?
Oh, man, it's awesome, King. It's awesome. I hope you get a chance to come out here. Have you ever been to Ottawa or Montreal?
Never. No, I've only been to Toronto and
that's
Vancouver.
Right. That's right. Well, I mean, you did well there, but Ottawa and Montreal, awesome places. It's been a while since I've been to Montreal. Always excited to get back here. I'm actually staying at the same hotel where I was staying right before. I was telling you off air before my son was born. My younger son, it's like bringing back deja vu of, feeling nervous that my wife was going to go into labor. Anyway, just amazing cities. If you ever get a chance to see the Penguins in either of these two places, especially Montreal where I'm at right now, go do it.
Definitely in the cards for me someday, or in the plans. I would love to, and I'm glad that the story of your son's birth worked out all good, and that you were able to make it back.
King, how about this? How about the story tomorrow? By the way, can we just talk about this for a second? That this is lined up for Sidney Crosby to tie and probably pass Mario Lemieux in Montreal. I mean, he grew up a Habs fan, Montreal and Mario. Like, it's just, I'm like, I can't believe what we have the opportunity to witness. I mean, number one, you got to get 66 there, but it just the pure spectacle of it is amazing.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. I was checking out a little bit of an Ottawa fan podcast. I believe it was like the Locked On Senators podcast, and they were talking about how they were happy that they were not on the receiving end of that Crosby highlight passing Lemieux that's going to be played for years and years and years. I have a feeling Montreal fans wouldn't feel the same, that they would really like to see Crosby make that history, as long as the Canadiens also come out with a win. But to have that, and with Mario's ties there as well, I think it would be a very, very special place for it to happen. But we'll talk more about that game, and we got a lot more to get to. It's been a busy week on the Pens beat, but despite the team's now 7-game losing streak, the biggest story wasn't even on the ice. It was, of course, the now imminent sale of the team from Fenway Sports Group to the Hoffmann family. We'll touch on that first, then we'll dive into some potential lineup changes they could make to snap out of this skid. But before we do all that, we want to remind you that this show is presented by FanDuel. The Pens don't play today, but it's a really good 5-game NHL slate. A lot of good action, and one game, I believe, is the first game of the night. The Red Hot Hurricanes are currently -128 favorites over, of course, the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Panthers, at FanDuel. You can get +190 odds on Carolina to cover 1.5 goals. And then in the nightcap, the Ducks are very slight -115 favorites over the Stars, and the Ducks are +198 to cover that 1.5 goal line. So those are two matchups of really good teams, of, if not cup contenders, strong playoff contenders, and you can get in on the action with FanDuel. So, Jason, let's start now with a long-reported sale of the team from FSG to the Hoffmann family of companies. On Wednesday, National Hockey Insider Frank Saravalli reported that the transaction would be announced in the coming days. Based on your reporting, what actually changed this week from what the Post-Gazette and other outlets had been reporting previously?
Well, I mean, we never reported that a sale was dead. Other people have. And we didn't report that for a reason, because I had heard conflicting things, and I heard nothing firm enough that I was going to go with it. My experience around these sales is that they take time. There's nuance with it. I mean, there's still nuance with the sale now. People are sort of taking this and running with it and saying it's a done deal. It's not. They have to meet with the NHL Board of Governors. They have to agree. I believe the two parties have agreed, but they have to agree with the NHL on the periphery. Maybe that's the way to put it. But I mean, what changed? I just think there's a lot to work through with this stuff, and we're seeing liquid cash, how much they have and are willing to spend, motives. Maybe it's something as simple as purchase price, but I mean, this is also a complicated sale where we don't have a lot of details, King, about what happens to the regional sports network. Who broadcasts Penguins games right now? Sportsnet Pittsburgh is tied in with the Pirates. You have baseball season coming around the corner. how does this stuff work? And so I don't know the answers to that. I don't know which way the Hoffmann family of companies is going to go, but I'd imagine that's part of it. There's a development, not the Penguins have the development rights across the street, but I'd imagine the Hoffmann family of companies at least have some sort of interest, or it might impact the sale one way or another. I mean, there's so many ingredients that go into this. It's not fully finished. Do I expect it to get across the finish line based on what I'm hearing? Yes, I do. But I wouldn't say anything changed as much as it's just, this is sort of the way things go.
Yeah. Well, obviously it became a big news drop, but I think your reporting added context to the fact that this was sort of the status quo, and that there's still a long way to go. And I think that was important to add, as the headlines rushed out about this sale happening now. Still a bit of a ways to go. So some things we have heard, the reported sale price is about $1.75 billion, which is in line with the Forbes valuation of the Pens. And it's almost double what FSG paid for them in 2021. So huge profit for a group that I don't think was hurting for cash to begin with. Some interesting things about David Hoffmann's companies and the general Hoffmann family of companies. They have over 200 brands under their umbrella, and some of their early success revolved around executive search. But you look at their brands now, I couldn't possibly categorize it as one thing or even a couple of things. They are in all kinds of different sectors, and they seem to have a passion for hockey. They own the Florida Everglades of the ECHL. They led or were the owners when the Everglades won 3 straight ECHL titles from 2022 to 2024. And among Hoffmann's grandchildren, some play hockey in the Chicago area, and one of his sons founded an organization to provide opportunities to young hockey players with diabetes. So would seem like David Hoffmann is going to be passionate about hockey. That does not necessarily mean that he's going to be the world's greatest owner or that he's going to be better than FSG. And that was one thing I wanted to touch on a little bit, Jason. Our colleague, Joe Starkey at the Post-Gazette, wrote a column about how FSG was not a popular owner because of their very clear corporate facade and corporate approach, and also because they seemed to alienate Mario, which was about the last person you want to alienate as the Penguins owner. However, they did have money. They did allow the Pens to spend amid declining attendance. What would be your concerns about a new owner, and specifically from what we know about David Hoffmann taking over the team?
We just don't know. And that's my concern, the unknown factor. We don't know how they're prepared to incur losses, if they're willing to incur losses, if they are completely focused on profits, and whether that's going to drive their decisions. We don't know if they are egomaniacs who think that they have all the answers when the Penguins are headed down a pretty good path. If they come in here, and I don't think this is going to happen, King, don't get me wrong. At least what I've seen about the Hoffmann family of companies, and generally you don't get rich by being an idiot, but the Hoffmans seem like pretty smart people. And if you're smart, you're going to look at the Penguins and say, what Kyle Dubas is doing here makes sense. We're going to get behind him and back him. And that's sort of a trickle down. But arrogance could be a problem. There's a lot of potential problems. I don't think the Hoffmann family of companies is going to run the Penguins the same way as the Fenway Sports Group. I just don't. I mean, it doesn't seem like it. It wouldn't be a smart investment. You should theoretically have people examining what has happened prior with FSG, and people are going to tell you, look, they haven't identified with people in the community. They haven't connected to Penguins fans. They haven't felt like they're a real company. And again, I don't know a ton about the Hoffmans, but I've talked to a few people who have dealt with them, and it's a very hands-on, more so than Fenway Sports Group. Like, this is not, it's a conglomerate, but it's not that way in how they approach their business dealings. So I think maybe we'll get into it, but if not, I'll just shoot my mouth off right now. Like, they would be very smart to handle their business that way, to put a personal touch on it, to be present, to talk about the Penguins, to show how much they seemingly care about hockey, because I think that was one thing that was missing from FSG's ownership.
Yeah, and it's definitely, I think, what made them not connect with fans is that they did not ever appear to really connect with Pittsburgh. And obviously, David Hoffmann is not from Pittsburgh. He, I believe, was born in Missouri. The family company is headquartered in Chicago, and it seems like David spends much of his time in Naples, Florida. So there's not that natural tie, and I know that Pittsburgh people are going to be weary of an owner without those direct ties to Pittsburgh, but that doesn't mean he can't really ingrain himself in the community and really show people that he cares about the team and is willing to invest in them. So many questions left to answer, but it was obviously the news of the week that the sale appears to be imminent, though there's still a ways to go. And we'll, of course, keep you updated on everything we're hearing about that.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.